Hey folks, Deano here again. This time taking a look at another bootleg gunpla model kit. This is the XFS Rising Freedom Gundam from the Gundam Seed Freedom movie. So yeah, I at this point have already reviewed the other two. Whether those reviews come out before or after this remains to be seen. I might put this one out first because, well, frankly, people prefer to see the bootlegs on this channel. But yeah, I'll say right off the bat, like, despite me not yet knowing much of anything about the Gundam Seed sort of anime in general, I'm starting to learn the names of the suits and things like that, but I do not yet know the story. But, like, I can't get over just how good this bootleg looks. Just off, like, my eyeballs alone. I didn't know how to say that properly. But yeah, to my knowledge, in the movie, this was like an offshoot of the Strike Freedom sort of suit. For whatever reason, it lacks the gold accents that those suits have. But in my opinion, it's probably already one of my favourite looking suits. Like, out of the line so far, I am really impressed. And the fact that this was I think it was £6 off AliExpress. Like, I'll say it right off the bat, this is by far the best bootleg gunpla I have purchased so far. Aside from the fact that the seller that I bought this and another bootleg off of, that's coming soon, the bootleg Sandrock, after I had already purchased the real one for far too much money. I'm still salty about that. But yeah, for whatever reason, the seller decided to cheap out, and despite the fact that the package that came to me ended up being about the size of a Gunpla box anyway, yeah, he decided to ship it just in blister pack. So I am quite honestly surprised it got to me in one piece. Yay, the joys of bootleg sellers on AliExpress. But yeah, since there's no box to review, let's just get straight into the accessories. So, where to begin with this guy? How's about the thing that's on him already? That being his beam sabers and rail guns, which, of course, most of the Gundam Seed, like, main suits anyway, tend to have these like rail guns attached to them. They have a fancier name than just rail cannon or rail gun, but I do not yet have that name memorized, and I doubt most people do because it's a lot of fluff. But yeah. First things first, the beam sabers. Unlike the Mighty Strike Freedom, this one still comes in two parts, and it looks, it's almost like an in-between. It's got the extra detail of the Mighty Strike Freedom, but at the same time it connects together like the original Strike Freedom did, or at least it should. There we go. Bootleg, so tolerances will not be the absolute best. Yeah, there's a bit of stress in that middle bit. So yeah, a bit strange that these two kits pretty much came out like only a few months apart. At least the real one did, the Mighty Strike and the Rising Freedom. But for whatever reason, like, they're built completely differently. I don't really understand it. Still no polycaps in this guy, like, at all, which is amazing. Again, high grades. We need to normalise getting rid of those polycaps. Like, I really, really, really do not like them now, because some of the kits that I have built and not even yet reviewed are unfortunately beginning to get loose. So yeah, but yeah, beam sabers, really nice. We also get a pair of beam saber blades, which, if slightly warped, they are really good. There is absolutely no bubbles inside this clear plastic, which is really, really good to see. Usually the bootleg beam sabers have got defects and stuff in them, not with these. I'm really beginning to suspect that the XFS bootleg company is probably the best one there is. GMS, I think, comes close. That's the one that does the Sandrock bootleg. But yeah, XFS, they did the Spartan bootlegs, and those were fantastic as well. So yeah, definitely going to endorse, if you're getting bootlegs, get the XFS versions. So yeah, back to the accessories. Next up, we have his physical beam shield, or Buster Shield, or whatever this one is called. Probably Freedom Shield. But yeah, it's your standard sort of long shield. I will say I put on some water slide decals on this guy because this bootleg actually came with a sticker sheet, basically a copy of them. I'll get more into detail once I get to the figure itself. But yeah, the shield itself, really nice. There is a lot of part separation here, except when you go to the back. For whatever reason, they moulded in the handle, which you cannot use. I don't know why that wasn't just a separate piece that you could hold on to, but okay. It has this grey piece here, which you simply do the same as with the beam shields from the other Freedom gunpla, where you pop off this red section. That comes off really easily, and you just pop that into there. I'm not going to do it fully. You can sort of have it hanging there, but it tends to pop this actual section off instead. So yeah, I won't be doing that. This is also it with all of its effect pieces, pre-attached. The top half can come off and goes back on. I think it looks better just sitting there. It's like a stabby shield. And also these side flaps can pop out. Yes, I did forget to panel line these wings. I am an idiot, but you probably could panel line that little section in there. These effect pieces come out as well as that, but they were such a pain in the backside to get in there that I left them in. Plus, I think the shield itself looks nicer having those sections there. Means you can stab from the front and sort of bash it at the side with the beam effect. But yeah, really nice. I am not sure if this is something this suit does in the show, but you can sort of lift these two halves together and split them open. There is a rail under there, but because it's a bootleg, the tolerances aren't as great as they probably should be. So yeah, I'm not going to risk that because it's a pain in the backside to separate this shield and get it all back in. But yeah, nice shield, and for once a physical shield with a Freedom kit. You also get the sort of beam shield, which for a bootleg I am really impressed. This is actually better than the Strike Freedoms, in that it's got the pearlescent effect in it. The Strike Freedom did not have that, and it's actually really nicely moulded. So yeah, that red piece slots on there, and then you simply stick that onto his forearm. If it will actually go in, come on. Is that even the right side I'm in? Yes. Well, it should be. Come on, why are you popping out of that? Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, I'm just an idiot. I was trying to put it in the wrong place. But yeah, that's the shield once it's on. Again, looks really nice. I really like these beam shields that the Freedom Gundams have. Really, really like them. I won't keep it on for the review, but it is a play feature and display feature if you so choose. And that just pops back in. One of the bonuses of this being a bootleg is that piece isn't overly tight. Yeah, the railguns are surprisingly different compared to the other ones in the line. You will notice mine's is missing the end cap on both of them. I have one of them sitting here, but one popped off as I was trying to do the review previously, and the carpet monster, being the absolute nuisance that he is, gobbled it up, and it'll probably never be seen again. So yeah, it looks fine without it, as long as it's not pointing directly at you, because you see the 2 slots there. Yeah, the main difference with these rail cannons, or rail guns, is that they actually extend, which gives it a bit more of a menacing look in my opinion. But yeah, really like that. And they just fold up easy enough, like so. Come on. There we go. Yeah, so they, just like the Mighty Strike Freedom, they just pop on to his side skirts, or as side skirts, sorry, with ball joints, which kind of limits the articulation, but it's still good. I'll give it a pass. In terms of hands, he comes with only 3. The pair of fist/block holding hands that most high grades come with, pretty much all of them to be honest, and 1 sort of posy hand, which I believe is merely here so that he can hold this, which in my opinion is by far the best designed of the Seed rifles that I've seen so far. Yeah, I will assume this is just for him holding it without actually having to hold it. So yeah, decent enough. Speaking of the rifle, yeah, there's a lot of detail here. I did do a little bit of panel line work, because there are some nice panel lines on this rifle. Not that it really needs it, to be completely honest. The only thing I did have trouble with is the stickers. The stickers were kind of miscut. So this section round the grey bit here is meant to be blue, but like I said, it was miscut, so really couldn't do it. You can't really tell anyway. But yeah, all the other blue sections on this are stickers. Not that you would really notice unless you were really paying attention, because they go on really well. That bit just popped out. Yeah, and I really like the colour separation as well. The grey is actually throughout the rifle, as it gives it these dark sections here, here, and poking through here, and even that little cable there. That's all from the grey section, which is really, really good. Not sure why they didn't do it to that back bit, but then I just panel lined it anyway. The one thing I do not like about this rifle is the fact that it has a handguard, which means you have to separate the fists to get it into his hand. But once it's in there, it really looks nice. There's also a peg on the back of it, which somewhere on him, yeah, on his butt flap, you can just about see there. There is a space to store this if you are not using it. And yeah, only other quote-unquote accessories that he comes with is a separate mouthguard with the standard sort of 2-line bits on the face, because of course once we get into the Rising Freedom, it's got a unique design in that it doesn't have those lines. It's got an Optimus Prime-esque like mouthguard instead, which I kept it like that. That's how it looked in the film, so that's how it will stay. And finally, we have an adapter piece, which isn't, as far as I'm aware, detailed in the manual, but I think this is for like when you put it into plane mode, which the instructions also don't show you, as far as I'm aware, unless I was a complete idiot and completely missed it. So I won't be transforming it on camera, but from what I've seen, it's one of the better Gundam transformations, in that it actually looks like a plane, not just like the Gundam on its back. But yeah, that does it for accessories. In terms of the figure itself now, you will notice it's on a stand. That's because backpacks on Gunpla are hollow, so they do tend to be top heavy. But yeah, I really like the colour design of this guy. I don't know what it is. Like, I think it's just the majority blue with white, just with those tiny little red accents. The blue and white, like, I'm Scottish, as people know. The blue and white is my country's flag, so not the British flag, the Scottish flag. So yeah, the red highlights don't really bother me that much. But yeah, I really like the colour design of this guy. It's really different from your usual like majority red, yellow, and blue sort of accents on Gundams. So yeah, really like it. In terms of like the detail, you will notice, as I said before, I have the water slide decals on there. I used some of them. To be completely honest, I was having a bit of trouble getting them to stay. Like, even now, I'm pretty sure if I touched the forearm decals, they would just come off. Like, that is one thing I'm a bit disappointed in, is even though the XFS gives you water slide decals, there isn't an awful lot of adhesion to them. So yeah, I'm not sure if like the Mr. Hobby, what is it, sticker cement or whatever it's called, I'm not sure if that would help, but to be completely honest, I don't put decals on often enough for me to like justify spending like £6 on one little ball. So yeah, I'm sure if you use that, it would probably come off better. But after I had put on a few of the water slides, I went back to my remaining sticker sheets that I got from the real grades and just stuck those on where, not where the instructions tell you, because again, the instructions don't tell you where any of the decals go. They tell you where the stickers go, like the eyes and things like that. But yeah, I had to go online and look at the official water slide decal instructions just to find out where they went. So yeah, XFS, if you're listening to this little reviewer rant on, please start putting instructions for the water slides in. I'm begging. But yeah, the water slides that did stick, they look really nice. I do really like it. I put 2 of the sort of Freedom logos on his shoulders. It showed you only putting 1 on, but it came with 2 plus a couple of different coloured ones, so I went with these 2. These are meant to be on like the back side, but as everyone knows, I am lazy when it comes to decals, and I left the back completely blank. Because yeah, there's meant to be like those there's meant to be those white stickers on the backs of all the wings. I only done the front because you will only ever see the front. So yeah, that's how I've ended up with so many spare stickers from the RGs. It's worked out in my favour. But yeah, again, really love those decals. They give a lot of added detail. Just sucks that 1, they take time to put on, and 2, these ones didn't stick very well. But yeah, going on to articulation. Let's see if I can get the backpack off without completely dismantling the figure, because the backpack is on there quite tightly. Okay, that bit just popped off. That's lovely, thank you. Come on, if I wiggle it. Wiggle, wiggle, there we go. Yeah, standard high grade double prong for the wings, so as long as the back doesn't have a weird sort of design to it, they will look great on any kit. I think you can put this one on the Mighty Strike Freedom, but you can't put the Mighty Strike Freedoms on anyone else because it has a sort of lip on it, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah, I plan on like keeping all my Gundams the same anyway. Yeah, let's pop that down there. In terms of articulation, let's pop this out of his butt as well. And yeah, I am very impressed with how like tight these joints are. For being a bootleg, you would honestly never be able to tell. The only tell with these is the fact that the white plastic never tends to be quite as good quality. So yeah, that's the only thing. It tends to be a bit fragile and fracture. But I don't think I get any fractures with mine anyway. These bits, I just had them out because they're a pain in the backside to put back in, but they do fold away, just like so. So yeah. Oh, and one other thing before I move on to articulation. The V-fins, surprisingly, did not have safety nubs on them. I'm assuming those were modified by XFS because I don't think any high-grade gunpla comes without those safety nubs on them. So yeah, props to them there. That looks far better and much pointier. Really like that. So yeah, back to articulation. We have the same sort of a pivot or swivel forward and back as on the Mighty Strike. So he looks up that far. He looks down really far as well. He does the chicken back and forth, swivel side to side. And even though we don't get any pivot off the neck itself, the ball joint does a lot of that work, so he does get a lot of pivot still, which is really nice to see. And yeah, really nice. The arms, the joint is the exact same as the Mighty Strike. The only difference is it's in grey and not gold, so I don't have as much of an issue moving it. I am honestly terrified that the gold plastic syndrome will rear its ugly head with the Mighty Strike and cause it to break. But yeah, shoulders can go up that far on their own. They are on their own little swivel. Once you get the ball joint and everything into play, you can get it up that far. It does tend to pop out a little bit, probably because bootleg tolerances and all the rest of it. It does swivel, comes forward that far. You get a really nice butterfly joint there. Really like that. And bicep swivel right there. Double joint at the elbow. Gets pretty much the full way, but the armor pieces do limit it. But if those weren't there, you would get a perfect 180. Forgot these bits do move as well, these sort of like thrusters, which is unique to this mobile suit. He has no sort of armor swivel, but we do have a ball joint at the wrist. The waist and abs, using both those joints together, you get a decent amount forward. Okay back. Ball joint at the waist gives us swivel, although it does knock into the front armour skirt. And a lot of pivot, which again you can hear it clicking against the armour skirt there. These rail cannon pieces, like I said before, bit of a drawback compared to the old Strike Freedom version, in that the ball joint only lets it go to there, so if you don't get them out the way, they will get in the road. Come on, there we go. So yeah, with them in the way, that's about as much as you're getting. You can, of course, swivel them backwards if you so choose, which gets him the perfect Van Damme splits. There is a drop down hip. These are different than the Mighty Strikes in that it's a sliding mechanism, so there's no awkwardness to how they work, which is quite honestly a better design. Even though this one came out a few months before the Mighty Strike, I'm not sure why they didn't go with that for the same reasons. So without that down, gets that far. With it down, you get a bit further. Double joint at the knee, which is decent enough. This foot armour plate pops in at the back. You get some nice forward, some nice back. You get toe down. There is a C-clip in here. I don't like C-clips at the best of times. This one is obviously a bootleg as well, so quality may vary. So far it seems okay, but you can get that much pivot. Surprisingly, for like a C-clip, you don't really get that much extra range with it, which is a bit of a shame. Not sure why they even bothered going with it, if it was going to do that. Yeah. All in all, a very nice kit. Come on, stop getting stuck. There we go. So yeah, let's pop the wings back on and show you the wing spread before we go. So yeah, they pop on nice and tight. I will give it that. Pop that round. And yeah, I'm not sure if it's front or back first. Oh, I almost forgot, but this guy has the unique feature of having 2 extra rail cannons, which pop out of his wings and look really nice. Bit of a tolerance issue on that side. This side's fine. But yeah, really like it. Really like it indeed. Come on, down you go. There we go. Ah, that's what was stopping it. Lovely. So yeah, as you just seen, that water slide, it so much as touched that other wing and just peeled off. Like, very disappointed in those water slides. And now it's sticking to my finger and won't go off. There we go. So yeah, the wings, you can pull them all around like so. There, that one's come off as well. Might as well take the whole thing off since it's not sticking. There we go. That's a bit of a nuisance, isn't it? So yeah, with the wings, come on, you're being awkward. There, so wingspan can reach that far if I move it backwards, and then pull that top of it. So yeah, I really like it, and I really like how like slim the wings are on this guy compared to the other kits. So yeah, even being a bootleg, this is probably my favourite kit of the Freedom line so far. I'll be honest. I like the gold accents on the Mighty Strike, but this one takes it for aesthetics for me, like personally. So yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Links in the description, which of course I forgot to mention that at the start. Links in the description if you want to purchase this guy from AliExpress. I'll leave the bootleg and the real links down there. But in my opinion, you can just go for the bootleg. Like, it looks just as good. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And until next time, I'll see y'all later.